Futurama is brought to you by...
Well, friends, we're gathered together once again this week to discuss Futurama, the revival on Hulu-Rama, Season 11, Episode 9. This one is entitled The Prince and the Product. There will be spoilers ahead, so consider this your last warning if you want to get out before we go into those. Otherwise, we're cracking on with the show. This is the penultimate episode of this revival season at Hulu. At least as far as I'm aware, we're getting 10 episodes, but it has been, I believe, confirmed to be coming back for another season some point down the line. And this is the anthology episode, so it always had kind of an uphill battle, at least for me, because I feel like outside of the first couple of anthology episodes from Futurama, they've been very hit or miss. I guess the Saturday morning cartoon one was possibly a bright spot in there, but there's other ones that are just utterly forgettable, like the nature documentary one, the Mutual of Omicron or whatever it was. That one only sticks in my brain because when it was airing on repeat on, I think it was Comedy Central, that one was on all the time, and for whatever reason, anytime it came on, the little fish sequence always stuck in my head. But anyways, I digress. There are 3 segments plus a main storyline here, and I'll cover them each individually. The main framing device in this episode is a regular, I guess, Futurama episode, but even that one felt a little thin on the ground as well, which makes sense because I guess that wasn't really the main point. I'm just a little disappointed in the framing device. They didn't really come up with anything clever or interesting, and maybe that was by design. Maybe they just said, you know what, we'll make it just not make sense and that'll be part of the joke. So if that's the case, I guess I can give them credit, but it was just a normal episode that just interrupted with commercials, and each of the 3 commercials were the main anthology plot points. There was no mention of why they were doing that, and they didn't kind of frame it as an alternate universe viewing experience or Nixon watching TV or anything. Each of the individual stories had a fun, unique aesthetic. I liked the visuals. I just felt like there wasn't much beyond the surface level. So the ongoing framing point of the storyline was our crew was delivering a package of macaroni art to the king of space. His wife died. Somebody put her art in macaroni, and Leela fell in love with the prince. Now, this is addressing something that I've mentioned in my prior videos, although in a playful, fun way, so I'm not going to ding it so much, but it was just a bit like, Leela fell in love with the Prince of Space, and Fry got a little butthurt about it, I guess you could say, and they ended up having a jousting session at the end, but tricks and whatever ensue. She becomes the champion and fights for Fry, and the king stands aside and lets his son fight. So in the end, Leela ends up killing the prince, the one that she was in love with.
I killed my true love!
No, I'm fine. Oh, you mean that guy?
It's all played off at the end like, oh, she was under a magic spell. No, not magic. It was a science spell. Ha ha ha. Laughter, end of episode. That was the main ongoing storyline, but it wasn't really important. It was just in existence to give us the ability to have these commercials. Now, the first commercial, the first anthology segment was
Windows, wind 'em and watch 'em run. Windows, roughly a minute of fun.
I really enjoyed, like I said, the aesthetic of this. The crew all being basically tin wind-up toys. The entire universe was being tin wind-up toys. The design was kind of cool. I'm not entirely sure I gelled with the storyline that much. It was basically showing us that Fry, because he was cryogenically frozen, was sort of still winding his crank, I guess you could call his gears, the entire time, so he was about to die because a spring was worn out, and Bender ended up sacrificing himself to rewind Fry. Nothing too special there. Yes, it showed their friendship, and it showed some unique characteristics and fun things with the wind-up toys, but I don't know, I thought maybe they could have played on the fact that that Bender and the rest of the crew were different, but they didn't seem to really do that. Every single character was a wind-up toy, so there was no difference between robots and humans. They were all wind-up toys in this universe, so I don't know, I just felt like there was maybe a missed opportunity there. The little joke about Robot Hell and Robot Heaven not being a literal place, but Robot Hell is.
Heaven's not an actual place the way hell is. It's a metaphor.
I did kind of like that. There were a couple of fun gags in here, but overall it left me kind of feeling hollow. Which I guess makes a little bit of sense considering these were tin toys. But again, I do have to admit, I like the aesthetic here. I don't know if this was the weakest as far as the storyline goes. So that's the end of that one. Then we went back to the main plot line for a while before we get our second anthology segment.
Go, go, round wheels.
And this one was basically a Hot Wheels or a Matchbox Cars type segment. Again, I really liked the aesthetics, the visuals, the world being built out of car tracks and all of our characters being cars. This one felt a little bit derivative of Futurama episodes we've seen in the past. All of our characters were cars. They did a Ring parody for some reason. I have no idea why they went with kind of combining Ring with the automated calls about your extended car warranty. That part I liked, the car warranty, but connecting it back to the Ring was very odd choice to me, but I guess it kind of worked. And it turns out that, lo and behold, the one killing all the characters was Zoidberg because he felt shafted and he wanted to be included by including parts of all of his friends in himself, but he makes a mistake at the end and accidentally turns all of the friends into their own car, but has removed all of himself, so they all drive off and they're fine at the end. And I guess one weird amalgamated creature, which is kind of creepy and freaky to think about, and that's that storyline. Again, really enjoyed the visuals, but as a storyline, it just kind of fell flat a little bit for me. And I guess I'm probably just going to say the same about all the stories, but there just wasn't much meat on the bone for this one. Then we went back to that main overarching storyline with the prince and the product and all that stuff, and then back to our final little snippet, our little tidbit, our little commercial break.
Rubber duck's the perfect toy for bath time. Never put live ducks in your child's tub.
Half the crew was rubber duckies, the other half was Weebles, you know, those little egg toys that wobble but they don't fall down. I think this probably worked the best. No, it wasn't a fantastic story by any means. It was kind of fun, quirky, unique. Again, I really like the design choices. The fact that the entire world was water until they discover this island of Weebles. I liked that. I liked the little dumb moments of Fry thinking that everybody's name was Fry for whatever reason, them not knowing what land is because they've never discovered it. The little cameos by some of the side characters were fun too, and the overall story was a little basic. You know, they go to war because they have different views on interspecies dating. I don't know if you can even call it interspecies because they're not really even living things. Interproduct dating, I guess you could say. And then Fry and Leela end up dying next to well, everyone dies. They die next to each other. They can't really die in each other's arms. And then there's this really cute moment where they both die and they produce babies. And that's kind of the end of the segment. It's not too meaty. There's not too much on the bone for this episode, any of these little segments. I think it was mostly done because they had fun, unique toys they wanted to kind of draw in the style of and create in the style of. They just didn't have anything to say. And this is the one piece, the one segment that feels like they did have a little bit to say, because they had the women have the right to their own autonomy and stuff thrown in there a little bit. So it felt like they had a little bit to say here. But aside from that, it's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of different, unique, quirky design choices for the sake of it. And it just didn't come together as an overall well-oiled machine, as something that's really wasting time and throwing ideas at the wall until they can get to the season finale next week. And I know that's a little harsh, but it just didn't strike home the way I would have liked it to. And I tend to have that problem with a lot of the latter-day Futurama anthology episodes. I'm really hoping they hit it out of the park next episode with the season finale, and I guess with the fact that they're coming back, I am cautiously optimistic that next season will be even stronger now that they've kind of gotten their feet back under them. But as of right now, I can't say it's necessarily confirmed its need to exist, if that makes sense. Again, looking forward to next episode, cautiously optimistic for next season, but leave all your thoughts down below. Did you like these little quirky snippets? Did it strike the right chord for you, or were you kind of left hollow and wanting more like I was? Leave all your thoughts down below, like, share, subscribe to all those fancy YouTube things. But until next time,
Goodbye, friends. Maybe we'll meet again in a better metaphor.